When it comes to the biggest Pokemon craze, it has to be the trading cards. Just how long will this fad last?
Oh my god! Oh my god, he's shaking.
Yeah! Is this a Pokemon? Oh my god, look how red my face has gone.
Charizard VMAX!
Oh my god!
Who's your favorite? Charizard, okay.
Oh no, it doesn't sound good. This. No!
Here's the basics to Pokemon investing in 2026 in less than 60 seconds.
I have probably the world's #1 Pokemon collection inside this case.
I've got this Pikachu that's got some cute ones on it if you'd like that as a gift.
Thank you.
You might have seen the card I was wearing around my neck.
This is the rarest card in the entire world.
The most valuable Pokemon card in the entire hobby.
The holy grail right here.
I love the Pokemon community. Sometimes stuff happens, and of course it does. Community demands effort, mostly when everyone is so passionate about something dear to us since childhood. But we always manage to make it work, with difficult talks, always striving to get to a place that is safe and welcoming for all. A place where people who tend to be a bit of outcasts for whatever reason can bond through nostalgia, friends, and the passion that shines in the stories we tell. That passion can show in months-long shiny hunting arcs, in the cinematic dedication when sharing a Nuzlocke adventure, or in the precise damage calculations of VGC prep. It's easy to see love for Pokemon in every one of those. But there is a small section of content online that, I don't know, it stands out as odd to me how the conversation about Pokemon TCG has shifted recently. Don't get me wrong, the vast majority of TCG players and most collectors have some of the most incredible and passionate stories in this entire community, but there is no denying that a bit of TCG talk, mostly online, has changed, standing out a lot from the rest. Take pack opening videos, for example. In some of these, it seems that the most important talking point is how much the card that was just pulled is worth. The price tag is the center stage. The Pokemon or the illustration is secondary. Lots of content that is centered around money, investment, valuing, hoarding, or selling. It's a part of the TCG bubble that certainly feels different from the passionate stories of the Pokemon community. And maybe that's an external view of it, because I was never a big collector myself. I had a couple of Ruby and Sapphire collections as a kid, and only learned how to properly play with pockets. I have had many requests to make a TCG video before, but I think that's kind of what has always turned me off. A lot of content discussing price tags, how keeping a pack closed might be a better investment than opening it, and trading to get more and more expensive cards.
We just made about $700 in the last minute.
Freaking hyper rare.
I'm like, where did this money come from, first of all?
And together we import and sell Pokemon cards. I made more in 5 months than I'll make in 2 years at my 40-hour-a-week job.
Oftentimes, Pokemon TCG content feels less like Pokemon and more like NFT content, crypto content, and get money quick content. And you know, dear stranger online, wherever a hobby is sold as a brand new opportunity to make a lot of money fast, people like scammers, finance bros, and scalpers will be at the front door. And then cards disappear from shelves, prices rise, fans get priced out, you can't find a pretty illustration of a Mew anywhere. I'm denied entry at the Van Gogh exhibition, you are all very well aware of that. And funny thing is that if you look at an average price graph for a Pokemon card, you will see that they spiked by almost 1,000% in 2020, and it's been rising ever since. Do you know what was released in 2020? Logan Paul's insanely popular 60 million view Pokemon card video. Do you notice something interesting in that title? Yeah, it's a price tag. Look how much I spent. Did you know you could maybe get rich quick with those cards in your basement? And like most things that Logan Paul touches, that is an irresponsibly dangerous discourse for everyone involved. And I know I'm not the first person to point this out. Logan Paul does bad thing is not a new take in the slightest. Everything I'm saying here has been well known and has been addressed by many of my colleagues in the TCG space and in the Pokemon community. I want to really recommend here the complete and well-researched deep dive from Zachary Zmigo about the role Logan plays in all of this, but Logan is certainly not the only one. Since you are all well aware that Logan Paul's not a really cool guy, maybe the example I should use here is of a more traditional finance bro. Thiago Nigro, the rich cousin, a Brazilian influencer and financing coach. He's known for teaching his followers how to make $1 million in 6 months and being a firm believer that we should all work 14 hours a day to fight poverty. Nice stuff. His 10 million followers are often people who are going through tough situations, people who need help with money, just trying to get a better life, and seeing Thiago a successful person who can teach them the secrets of how to get there. The fun fact here is that Thiago is apparently also a big Pokemon fan, and it's honestly astounding to me how he cannot mention the series without also saying it's a great way to make money. All the content he posts about Pokemon follows the same structure as his coaching and financial advice. Videos titled, How to Make Money Out of Pokemon Cards, Why I Spent $1 million on a Card, It's Buying Boxed Games Never to Play Them, and Selling Them for a Profit in 20 Years. Can you see here these pieces of plastic in my hand? These Pokemon cards, they are literally destroying the stock market. People like Thiago Nigro and Logan Paul push to their tens of millions of followers the idea that stocking up on Pokemon cards is a valuable financial investment. And Thiago literally compares Pokemon cards valuation to stocks in doing so, telling parents that if they have money problems, maybe they can monetize their kids' hobbies. It's a nasty, low discourse that could really trick people into spending their savings on cards. And in a self-fulfilling prophecy, everything does get more expensive, just like a financial bubble, where a price tag of $1 million for a Pokemon card cannot ever be justified. The absurd financial speculation and overvaluation of Pokemon trading cards as investment assets reached a horrible boiling point a few days ago, and it is the reason why I decided to finally sit down and write this video. Because it's not just pricing people out of their hobby, it's putting Pokemon fans in real danger by treating a pretty holographic cardboard as if it were gold or silver, and then your local card shop suddenly needs to have the same security as your bank. Pokemon fans and families got together in a card shop in New York City called Pokécourt to have a community building afternoon together. You know, what collecting cards should be about. People who join an arts and crafts events to get to know other fans, have a good time and decorate their collection, suddenly found themselves in the middle of an armed robbery, in one of the most terrifying things that has ever happened in this community. Just like a bank heist, men in black masks smashed glass display cases with a hammer, while customers and workers stood frozen. For Pokemon cards. Luckily, nobody got hurt, but it's insane to have to consider that you could end up going through this when you leave your home for an arts and crafts event.
This was the dramatic scene at a card collecting shop in New York City on Wednesday. 3 men drawing guns inside Pokécourt, aiming them at customers before shattering a glass display case and, according to the store, making off with more than $100,000 in merchandise.
It was like clockwork. They grabbed a bunch of stuff and then they grabbed the cash and left.
Okay, this is Pokécourt in New York City, 412 West 13th Street. So you were just robbed at gunpoint. If anyone tries to sell these items to you, please call the police and please contact us. Thank you.
Well, dear stranger in line, it's bleak out there. This pisses me off so much, because someone is making money out of all of this. And it's not Timmy, who found old cards in his dad's attic. What is happening to Pokemon TCG is something old and very predictable, but more than anything, a recession indicator. And to explain you why, I will mention once again a good friend of the channel, Carl. Because, of course, this is a framework he has predicted. Actually, fun fact, The manufacturing cost for Creatures Inc. to produce a single Pokemon TCG card is approximately 1 to 5 cents. And I mean, these are not invaluable and original unique pieces of oil on canvas painted by a sad European man who died 300 years ago. These are mass printed in Tokyo. So where are the $499,999,999.95 coming from? Well, Carl likes to use old-timey words to explain these things, so I'll try to be as clear as I can. When talking about why things cost the price they cost, Carl likes to distinguish between two types of value. Use value is the actual utility of the object. For a Pokemon card, the use value is that you can use it to play Pokemon TCG, or you can frame it and look at the very pretty art. But you also get exchange value, the price it trades for on the market. In a system that makes sense, these two need to be linked somehow, because only labor can create true value. Like when a factory produces a Gengar hoodie, value is created. Someone made something someone will wear. But when a scalper sells a card he bought for $5 for $4 million, nothing is really created here. Money simply inflated and moved from one pocket to another based on vibes or speculation. I don't know, maybe Thiago Nigro is spending $4 million on Pikachu Illustrator because he's such a big fan of Atsuko Nishida, and I mean, based. All power to female designers, but I tend to think that might not be the case. When the exchange value and use value of a card are so radically different, it often means that the value is completely detached from the material reality of the object. And that's a problem that can be explained by commodity fetishism. When explaining commodity fetishism, Carl says that capitalism makes a few objects take on a mystical life of their own. This isn't a piece of cardboard made by the labor of a factory worker. It's much more special, almost sacred with inherent value. The Pikachu Illustrator is not valuable because of the labor that went into it. It is valuable because of the artificial scarcity of being exclusive to a time promotion in the 90s, and the social power people like Logan Paul and Thiago Nigro have hallucinated into it. Commodity fetishism is a little bit like shiny hunting, you know. A shiny Pokemon is almost the exact same as a non-shiny one. They function the same in battle, and they can have the same stats. The value we add to shinies and the reason Blue Vac will spend 500 hours looking for alphas in ZA is purely subjective, linked to the stories we tell. And taking Pikachu Illustrator for example, sure, it's a cool story for a card, and it is objectively a difficult collector's item to find. But then to cost $4 million? That's a price tag that someone chose for a very specific reason. What is happening to TCG is much worse than commodity fetishism because I don't think they care about the story of these cards at all. They care about selling it for a profit later. There is no commodity, there is only capital. When these influencers tell their millions of followers that they can too get rich by buying these cards, that these cards are a better investment than the stock market, when they sell Pokemon TCG as a get-rich-fast scheme, not only are they contributing to increase the value of the cards they already own, but they create a speculative bubble where people who are jumping in don't care about the use or don't even see them as cards. They only see them as money, as a proxy for money. What do you mean, Cecily? Carl also talks about this? Yes, Carl talks about everything. It is a classic bubble, and the transition from commodity fetishism to something even more abstract called capital fetishism. This means that the card becomes a token for money. The card is irrelevant. They couldn't care less what a Nogurpon or a Smoliv is. The card becomes only a way to turn $100 into $200, like gold, like jewelry, like turnips in Animal Crossing. Capital fetishism is seeing the card only as a way to make more money, fetishizing the speculative potential and not even the object itself. Oof, big words. But I hope you got it. Because when the speculative value of the card becomes so ridiculously inflated that it detaches entirely from its use value, that's when bubbles tend to pop. Because no Pokemon card can really be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, ever. These are bubbles, often explained with the greater fool theory. For people like Thiago Nigro, paying the price of a car for a holographic Charizard is a smart move, as long as he can find someone even more blinded by the hype to buy it from him for a higher price. It's the same thing that happened to those monkey NFTs. It's a high-stake games of hot potato, where the goal is to pass the ultra-hyper-mega-rare object to a greater fool before everyone realizes these are not really worth anyone's retirement funds. The bubble only pops when the supply of fools runs dry, and the last person who bought the card suddenly realizes that its market value just got away safely, leaving them with nothing but a very expensive piece of cardboard that cost 2 cents to produce. And hear me, I want nothing more than to see scalpers lose all their money. They are the reason why I can for the life of me afford a physical copy of Pokémon Emerald that I will genuinely play. But most of these 30 million people following Logan Paul and Thiago Nigro are not scalpers, they are parents, working class people, in a recession, looking for any way they can to make ends meet. In the past years, I've literally had parents get in touch with me personally and ask me for financial advice, because they've heard I have a Pokemon channel and I must have some insight on an easy way to earn some money with their kids' hobby, because they're struggling. That's why gambling and sports betting is a recession indicator, because people are desperate. They go to work every day and see their purchasing power decrease more and more. Even if they work hard and get a raise, they can't fight inflation. Desperation hits and they try their last resort. Bet on Lady Luck. And then an influencer, a very rich one, tells them that their kids' collections can be a way to achieve financial security. And make no mistake, NFTs, crypto, Pokemon cards, these are not investments. They aren't even gambles, they are much closer to a pyramid scheme. People don't buy Bitcoin because they believe in the revolutionary potential of the blockchain to change payment systems and central banks forever. They buy Bitcoin because maybe they'll get some extra cash. People don't buy $150,000 Charizards to try and win it big in Pokemon Worlds. It's money for money's worth, without really having in it what really adds the value to a product or a commodity. Real-life labor. Your Dynamax Umbreon is gorgeous, but it's not really worth a month's salary. When people stop buying it just to resell it later, it will be the same as it happened to Monkey NFTs. Maybe you will be able to resell it to a big Umbreon fan for $50. I don't know. The point is that this isn't real. And it's not only about kids getting priced out of the hobby, it's about parents who will spend up to hundreds of dollars on a fancy card, thinking that it will be a safe investment. It's about card shops and community events having to triple their security because they are getting broken into and robbed weekly. They are not storing cards anymore. And capital fetishism, those cards are the same as huge lumps of cash. It kills our community, it kills the trading card game, and like a pyramid scheme, the only ones making a profit are people like Logan Paul and Thiago Nigro. Because when things get bad, they will be the first to jump ship and run to the next opportunity of tricking their followers into losing money to them. I guess what I'm trying to say is that every time you ask whether you should open a pack or not, those people are profiting, and even worse, preventing you from enjoying a game you love. Card games are meant to be played, and that's how we fight finance bros, scalpers, and people who are poisoning the TCG community. Open the pack, play the game. Get a scratch or two in that full art Dynamax Umbreon. Get some new stories to tell.